Our next chapter is surface area and volumes of spheres. Spheres are your typical ball, basketball, tennis ball, kickball. You get the point. First, I would write down this formula right here. And again, this is a sphere. So when you're finding the surface area of a sphere, you really just have to know the radius. So in this case, and again, I want to leave it in terms of pi. If my diameter is 18, that means r is going to be equal to 9, because radius is always half your diameter. So my surface area is going to be 4 pi times 9 squared. Now, if you want to leave it in pi units, you just have to multiply the actual numbers are together. So 324 pi, my units are inches, area is always squared, so that would be my final answer. I want you to pause the video, yes, pause the video, and find the surface area of these two spheres. So I put both my answers in both pi units and to the nearest hundredth. Unless if it tells you which way to do it, I do not care. However, if you're going to round to the decimal, I would like to the nearest hundredth. So those are my two answers. Now this problem is a little bit different. I'm still looking for the surface area. However, in the problem, it's giving me the circumference is equal to this. Now you would have to know that the circumference is equal to 2 times radius times pi. Because all I really need to know in this problem is what my r is equal to. So that's why I chose the 2 times radius times pi. So it's telling me that c is equal to 25. So now I'm going to replace c with 25, and I'm going to solve for r. Now all of these are being multiplied, so in order to get rid of multiplying, I want to divide. If I just want r by itself, I'm going to divide by the 2, and I'm also going to divide by the pi. And whatever you do to one side, you have to do the other. Why did I choose 2 pi? Because those two will cancel out, and those two will cancel out, so now I'm just left with r. And it says round to the nearest 10 square inches, so I'm going to round this to the nearest number. So r is going to be equal to 4. So now if I look at my surface area is equal to 4 times pi times my radius squared. And if I would put that into my calculator, this is what I would end up with. Now it says round to the nearest 10 square inches. So that's the 10 spot, not the tenths. There's a difference. So if I round this, this would be 200 inches squared. That would be my final answer. Now the volume. Again, make sure to write this down. In both surface area and volume, you need to know the radius of the sphere. So for this problem, I would have 4/3, because that's part of my formula, times pi times my radius cubed, because units are going to be cubed here. So I'm looking for the volume of this. And again, since I'm just looking for it in pi units, I'm just going to multiply these two numbers together, because I'm going to leave my pi by itself. And I get 2,304 pi. My units here are millimeters cubed. Now be aware, when you're cubing a number, if this is a larger number, your final answer is going to be pretty large, because cubing means I'm taking 12 times 12 times 12. So right now I want you to pause the video and find the volume of each of these. This right here is your radius. This is just the circle, or the part of the ball, if you will. And this is the diameter. So pause and find out the volume by yourself. So again, I put it in both pi units and to the nearest hundredth. Again, I don't care unless if I tell you which way I want your answer to be. So kind of another problem like we had before. It's telling me the volume is this, and I have to find the surface area. So again, the volume of a sphere is 4/3 times pi times radius cubed. Now if I fill in what I know the volume is 2,200, and this is my formula. So first thing I want to do is get the r cubed by itself. So since these are being multiplied, again, I have to divide. So I'm going to divide by 4/3, and I'm going to divide by pi on both sides of my equation, because these two will cancel and these two will cancel. So you have to be careful when you put this in your calculator. You have to be very careful to make sure you get the right answer. And I get roughly about 525 is equal to r cubed. So now, when I have a cubed, I have to take the cubic root. Just like when you have a square, you have to take the square root. So a cubic root would look like this. This little number here, it has to be a 3, because that will cancel out the 3 here. So whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. If you're unsure how to put this in your calculator, make sure to ask me in class the next day. And you would get that R is roughly about 8 right here. So now I'm actually looking for the surface area. That's what my question is. So if you remember from earlier in this video, the surface area is equal to 4 times pi times r squared. So your two answers could either be 256 pi yards squared, or else 804.25 yards squared. Either answer would do for this problem because it doesn't tell me how to solve it. Make sure you took good notes, having formulas and knowing what it means, and having examples, especially these problems in your notebook. Have a wonderful day.